Every word he spoke seemed to bring out the bad 12-year-old in me, and a kaleidoscope of childlike cruelty flooded my thoughts. How could I know that this would save me in the end? That only by digging into the hardships I bore as a schoolboy would I be able to survive and defeat the monster he had... But let's go back to the beginning. There are things a guy should feel bad about, like breaking a lunger's ribs. But then again, what are we talking about, eh? Life. I mean, life is cheap, and people are cheap. TV is cheap, and food is cheap, and people forget, yeah. And it ain't even worth living because it's cheap. Yeah, life is cheap because it ain't worth living. Well, sometimes. Anyway, it took me 3 well-paid days to find him, and that was that. It was a funny family reunion. Mom and Dad looked unpleasantly surprised.
Please, Mr. Dober, don't tell him where we are. Please!
You have an ounce of humanity.
Then again, most families that come looking for each other through me seem at a hyperactive can of worms sort.
Please, Mr. Dober!
Max decided he liked the territory. He bought a big house and opened up his club. It was classy, too classy for Magenta, but for some reason, people found the place irresistible as its main attraction. Men and women sweated and shivered their addiction to Stella's presence as they poured their hard-earned cash into the coffers. What can you say? I didn't think much of the whole thing. It'd been another boring case, but at least it was work. And compared to the French poodle kidnapping and custody case I'd just wound up, it had an almost more human element. But anyway, I'd pretty much forgotten about the whole bunch of them the day the fattest, ugliest bag lady I'd ever seen waddled in through the door. I tried not to look at her.
Would you help me to unzip my face, Mr. Dober?
That's Dober, lady, not DOBER. Before I could move, the whole bag lady split in half, and out popped Brigitte DOBER, the world-famous sex symbol and zoologist.
Bernier France told me you could be trusted.
Franz was a local veterinarian, a good guy. He'd helped me with the French poodle case.
Can you be trusted, Mr. Dober?
That's Dober, Miss DOBER.
I am Brigitte Dober, Mr. Dober, and I am here on a special mission for love.
Yeah, the Lovers of Adorable Animals Forever Foundation. You mean that really exists? I thought it was just a tax write-off for liberal dentists.
We exist all right, Mr. Dober, and we need your help. You will be well paid, of course, besides knowing that the animal kingdom, in their beautiful, naive way, will thank you wholeheartedly.
Yeah. I'm sure they will if ever that is the case. I thought of the poodle fang still embedded in my right leg. What is the case, anyway?
I really do not know where to start. I mean, I am not used to this, having to go around disguised. I must perform more uninhibited...
Why don't you start at the beginning?
There are things like I should feel bad about, like breaking a Lungar's ribs.
Please, Miss DOBER, the beginning of your part of the story only, please.
Oh, how foolish of me. That's you, Dober, and not Brigitte Dober. Oh, I remember now. And here is my place. Okay, well, it was at the dearest reindeer observation post and contact dance center that we noticed something was strange.
What could possibly have been strange, Miss DOBER?
You must promise me not to breathe a word of this to anyone. So many people feel threatened when you try to save them from themselves, you know.
I'm not sure I know what you mean, but in the privatized code of ethics, you're probably covered.
Well, we are working on Project Total V. As you know, we are all vegetarians at LOAV. Do you know that you could grow enough soybeans in Central Park to feed every carnivore in New York State? No? Well, anyway, we noticed that the reindeer herds were depleting, so we took radical action. You see, we thought the wolves were killing them, and killing is awful. But I'm sure that in your business, you know that. Well, actually, it took quite some doing to get the wolves to start eating tofu, you see.
Doing what?
Eating tofu. Well, actually, cocaine leaves mixed in with the curds. They were really taking to it. I mean, anything is better than having them to kill each other.
I felt a twinge of disgust, but then again, if she were feeding me tofu, I would eat it till I shit cinder blocks.
They are much more happy now. Oh, have you ever heard of Pierre Lapierre, also known as Crusher? He does this thing with beer cans.
Yeah, lengthwise between his thumb and index. He occasionally performs at the Garden of Eden. Farlow rents the monkeys from the municipal zoo and they swing from his...
His wang, you mean, Mr. Dober. Natural things don't shock me. I mean, what could be more natural?
I'm sure I don't know, Miss DOBER.
Anyway, we think that Mr. Pierre is behind the disappearance of literally thousands of reindeer. You see, the wolves haven't eaten any deer in the past 2 years. They just sit around the center, listen to Dire Straits records, and still the deer population goes down. One of our people saw him load up a truck full of antlers. We followed him here to Magenta. They unloaded the truck at a warehouse on the east side. Here is the address.
Excuse me, Miss DOBER, but are reindeer antlers an aphrodisiac?
Incredibly so. But that is why we set up the observation post and contact dance center. It seemed a more natural way to, how should I put it?
I get the general idea.
I have brought a little antler files to show you so you'll know how to recognize it.
I touched it and took a whiff, trying to figure out why she had that mischievous smile on her face. And the last thing I can remember is a soft giggle.
I simply hook them, or I will cook them, or I will eat them alive. Yes, I simply hook them, or I will cook them. But this girl, she is gonna survive.